Hello, my name is Norm Nemro, and I'm the instructor for and the developer of the Introduction to Accounting, the Language of Business instructional software that you'll be using for this course. My purpose today is to give you a few hints on how you might more effectively use this software as a learning tool. And I'd like to begin by first clicking on Play Lesson, and then I'm going to click on Lesson Number 1, the Introduction to Financial Accounting. And there's an introduction and some objectives. You can read through that if you'd like, and then click on Start Lesson. Let's get started in this, our exciting study of accounting, which is really the language of business. Now let me ask you, how many of you have ever thought that you might want to start and run your very own business? I mean, you'd be your own boss, maybe take an idea that you've had and really make it happen. Now, one of the things you're going to want to do before you actually start viewing a lesson is first go up to this button for Resources. Clicking on that, it'll bring up PDF files for all of these lesson notes, the slides that you see during the lessons, plus a financial practice set, some exam topics, and sample exam questions or problems. And for a moment, I'm going to click on the Lesson 1 notes. And here you see the PDFs associated with this Lesson 1 material. And again, I suggest you print this out, make a hard copy of it, and then as you're watching the lesson, you'll stop periodically and take some additional notes to help remind you of the most important topics. Okay, another thing that you may notice here is that I'm talking rather slowly. In fact, I'm not sure when I did this original video work that I was really talking that slowly. But the great thing about this software is that you can control the speed. You have this slider bar with the tortoise and the hare, and I'm going to go ahead and increase this to about 1.5, and we'll go ahead and watch this lesson, or part of this lesson, at that higher speed. Plus, maybe there'll be opportunities to make some really big money. Most everybody at some point in time in their life has thought about actually starting their own business. But what really is a business? Simply defined, a business is an organization which seeks to provide goods or services to customers. You know, this is really great because many students say that they actually learn the material better at a higher speed because it forces them to focus and they actually comprehend better at the higher speed. Now, that's for you to judge. Remember, your goal in this course isn't to get through the material, it's to learn the material, become competent in it. And so you'll need to adjust that speed to make sure that you're understanding the material. And on occasion, you'll be going through some technical material that may require you to slow down. In fact, in some cases, you may actually have to listen to a segment of the lessons more than once if they're really technical. For example, if you're reading a textbook like a chemistry textbook that has a really technical paragraph, you may go back and read that paragraph more than once to make sure that you're actually understanding it. The same with this. If you've gone through a lesson segment and you're not quite sure that you understand it, then maybe you need to slow down and go over that material again just to make sure that you're understanding it. Plus, another important tool here are the lesson problems that are included in the lessons. It's not enough to just kind of hear and understand the material, but you need to be able to apply it in actual practice. The problems allow you to do that. It can enhance your learning and help you to assess the quality of your learning along the way. Give you an example of a lesson problem, I'm actually going to go now to lesson number 2. Because I've got some better problems in lesson number 2. And again, you see the introduction and objectives. I'm going to click on Start Lesson. And then I'm going to go ahead and go down to problem number 6, which is Expanded Equation. And we'll take a moment and just listen to this. Now, I'm interested to see if you really understand what's going on in this diagram and can use all of this new language in this context. And so I'm going to give you a problem that hopefully you'll find as easy, but I'm going to guess some of you are going to struggle with in terms of trying to make sure that you understand this flow of information and all of this new language by giving you a homework problem, and it's an important one. Pull out a blank sheet of paper now. I want you to try this on your own. I don't want you to go into any solution yet. I want you to really knuckle down and do this problem. You're given some information. Okay, I'm going to take another moment here, a minute, and explain this problem in the video. But you'll notice here at the bottom of the page that there are 4 new buttons: the problem, hint, walk through, and answer. You need to pull out a sheet of paper. It is not enough to just kind of read through the problem, click on the answer, look at the answer, and say, yeah, I understand this. No, you actually need to go through the process of documenting your understanding of this and applying these concepts. So, pull out a piece of paper, do the problem. Then click on the answer. And as you click on the answer and view the answer, then you may say to yourself, hey, yes, I understood this, I got it right. And in that case, you can just go to the next item in the table of contents, which in this case is another problem, problem number 7, and you'll just proceed forward as you're learning the material at your own pace. However, some students may struggle with this problem. And in that case, you have a couple of options available to you. One is the hint. In this hint, I will come up and I'll give you some explanation on how to get started with the problem. I'm not going to explain it in full, just how to get things going. If you have additional problems, you may want to click on, or you should click on, this walkthrough. And I'm going to do that, and we'll watch this walkthrough for just a moment. Okay, now let's look at the solution to this problem. One way to approach this problem would be first to simply recreate the diagram by showing the amount of assets, liabilities, and owner's equity at the beginning of the year. And okay, I'm going to take 11 minutes, almost 11 minutes, to walk through the solution to this problem step by miserable step. And as I click on this, you're going to see that I'm just taking this and explaining all of the concepts associated with successfully coming to the answer to this particular problem. This is a wonderful tool. It gives you feedback for areas in which you might be having some problems. Now, when you're done with this, you'll probably understand and feel good about your comprehension, and then you can move on. But if after watching this walkthrough you're still having some problems, well, then you'll need to go back to the lesson segment, slow things down, listen to it again to see if you can't better learn all of the concepts associated with the solution to this problem. By the way, when you're all done with a lesson, if you've had some struggles along the way and had to watch the walkthrough for some of these problems, then I think you need to go back and do them again so that you're doing them on your own. See, there's a big difference between watching a walkthrough, watching somebody else do a problem, and kind of understanding what they're doing, as opposed to actually doing it yourself, where you're creating the solution given your own understanding and not just observing someone else. So again, when you're done with a lesson, if you've had any problems along the way, go back and redo any problems that you may have used the walkthrough for. Another wonderful tool here is to click on this practice button. Again, doing problems is a way that you can not only enhance your learning, but also evaluate or assess the quality of your learning along the way. And so I'm going to click on lesson 2B here, the second half of lesson number 2. And as I do that, you see a number of questions or additional sample problems that come up. And if I click on number 6 here, you'll see a problem, and as you read through this and try to do this problem on your own, you'll then be able to click on the answer and determine whether or not you truly understood that concept. Again, just another way to test you to make sure you're understanding the lesson content. Another wonderful tool is this glossary. And as I click on this glossary, this is going to bring up vocabulary that is newly introduced in each lesson. For example, I'll click on lesson 2B, and here you see a number of new terms, vocabulary. And this is important because really accounting is the language of business. And to really understand that language, you need to understand the vocabulary, the business terms. And so you may want to come through here and make sure that you understand all of this new business language introduced in lesson 2B. And for example, I'm going to click on accounting period. And I can read this definition, and if there are certain terms in this definition I'm not sure about, I can click on those. For example, financial statements. And then the definition for financial statements appears. And as I'm reading through that, I might not understand the term GAAP, or Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. And if I click on that, I can get that definition. So I can link down and dig deeper into this vocabulary to make sure that I'm really understanding this language of business. Well, that's it. Here are some wonderful tools for you to better learn this material, and I hope you'll take advantage of it to make this software really a terrific tool in your learning experience.